We have Senator Rand Paul here with us right now. Your reaction to this, you were right in the middle of this whole Russia collusion hoax. What do you think should happen next?
Well, you know, the clip you played with Trey Gowdy asking the question of Brennan, did you know the dossier was from the Clinton campaign? And Brennan denies that. That's absolutely, without question, a lie. One of the documents that Tulsi Gabbard has released is an exchange between the CIA analyst and Brennan. And one CIA analyst says that this is nothing more than opposition research. It's unverified. And Brennan's sort of flippant response is, yeah, but doesn't it really ring true? Doesn't it really sound like it could be true? And so that's sort of the flippant nature he had, and an indication that even in his hand-picked analysts, he picked the analysts that would ultimately be with him, you know, to create this narrative. And yet he lied to Congress. I think without question they can get him on lying to Congress. But this really was a cabal. I mean, I can't even remember the stories from the time, contemporaneous stories saying, well, yeah, we're going to spread this information throughout government so the Trump people can't destroy it when they come in. But people didn't really know at the time that the information was from the Clinton campaign, or the public didn't know that. The people within John Brennan knew this. But, you know, at the time, Brennan's nomination came up. I was the only one in the Senate to oppose it. I actually filibustered for 13 hours against John Brennan. So I've known from the beginning that he was a scoundrel. And yes, he should be prosecuted. I think there's enough evidence in here that he lied to Congress about the dossier. He knew about it. His analysts warned him, and he just sort of blew them off and said, oh, yeah, but doesn't it sound like it could be true?
It appears that someone else lied to Congress, Dr. Anthony Fauci. And you have new efforts that are trying to bring him to justice. Tell us about those.
You know, when he came before our committee, I questioned him on funding the research in Wuhan. And he adamantly, repeatedly, and heatedly said, I never funded gain-of-function research ever in China. Well, it turns out that we have a letter from the group that was funneling the money, EcoHealth. They were getting NIH grants. It was going to EcoHealth, and then it was going to China. We have a letter from EcoHealth where they respond because their money had been paused while it was examined whether it was gain of function. And they have a thank you, Dr. Fauci, for restarting our gain of function research. No. So it's pretty clear the people receiving the money thought it was gain of function research. But we also have other members of the NIH. When we had an interim member, an interim director of the NIH, he came forward and said, of course it's gain of function research.
Right.
So Fauci was playing games with semantics because he worried that this would attach to him, but now he's guilty of a crime.
Well, Senator, even though he's pardoned, I mean, can you open that back up?
That's the real question. Is the pardon valid? Can an auto pen pardon someone? Can a clerk or a college intern running the auto pen, can they pardon someone? We addressed this issue partially, not in court, but there was a time during President Obama's administration that he was jetting off to India, and an important piece of legislation came forward, and he wasn't going to be back in time, and it would be a pocket veto. You know, if you don't sign legislation, if the president doesn't sign it, it fails through a pocket veto. And he wasn't going to be back, so he had his auto pen sign it. And the world knew it was happening, and they doubted the validity of it. But he said, not to worry. When I get back, I will sign it. And I believe he came back and signed it in person because he was worried about the validity of the law without a real signature. So the court would have to decide this. But I think indicting Anthony Fauci would be something that's appropriate. But then I think the court would decide whether the pardon holds, and you'd probably have to interview people. Did the president really do the pardon? Or did a clerk, or was it Joe Biden's chief of staff who approved this? You know, the person who was running the auto pen, I think they already have testimony saying he never talked to the president. So he's running the auto pen. I think there was thousands of pardons coming off of it, and he never discussed it with
I think
the
a lot of people are going to start practicing pleading the fifth because this thing is getting real spicy. Dr. Rand Paul, thank you. We appreciate it.